as well.
Well, now we've got a couple of guys with us that know more about Conference USA than just about anybody. I got to talk to Katie Hudnall on Thursday on Red Towel Radio. Did a fantastic job. And as soon as we were done, I said, hey, man, you got to stop by on Topper Tailgate. And you got to bring Moff with you because we got to have both sides of this Moonshine Throwdown. Katie, Moff, how you guys doing? Welcome to Topper Tailgate.
Man, thanks for having me again. It's great to be back in Bowling Green.
I tell you got to hear it, Brett. You were listening as Katie was on. These guys know their stuff about this rivalry, and Katie was the one that coined the now famous Moonshine Throwdown phrase, and I'm going to have you tell the same story that you told me on Red Towel Radio. Where did that phrase come from, and what was it that inspired you to start this new Twitter page, the Moonshine Throwdown page, that now, Brett, already 2,500-plus followers just in the brief history of this rivalry?
Well, I told you I was at the game in 2014 with 23,000 other folks, and when that one was over, I knew, along with everybody else, what I just witnessed, and that was the birth of a rivalry. And I thought, okay, maybe we can do something with this. And when it came to coming up with a name, I told you, it seems like whenever the states of Kentucky and the states of West Virginia get interlocked or intertwined, everybody wants to talk about Hatfields and McCoys, and that's not where we wanted to go.
Yes.
Right.
So I told you on the Red Towel Radio on Thursday that the Moonshine name is way less about the actual beverage than it is more about the idea of that kind of pick yourself up and dust yourself off kind of attitude, the kind of work for everything you get type of mentality that so many of us from these regions have. Very few of us get things just handed to us. It's always work for what you get and be proud of what you got. And it's more of that idea where Moonshine comes from. And, of course, I told you, Throwdown is just a nice big battle. It's a big fight.
yeah.
Which is what this game always is.
That's what it has to be about. How do you call it a rivalry if it's not hard fought?
And I love how it lended itself naturally to the Twitter handle, Moonshine TD. So
Yes.
you get the football thing in there, too, even if we know it stands for something else. I love that.
Now, I got to ask both of you guys, and I'll start with KD first, and then we'll go to Moff, because it's very interesting the dynamic that your page has in terms of traveling back and forth for the games and keeping up with both of the teams. So we thought we would expand this a little bit outside of football and try to get some nice things said about both sides, the Marshall and WKU side. So, first, Katie, I'll ask you, what is your favorite thing to do in Bowling Green other than watching Marshall play WKU?
By far, it is meeting new people, making new friends. Every time I come here, I meet more great people, and it makes me just want to keep coming back again and again and again.
Now, for Moff, when you have to go to Huntington, and I know it hurts a little bit to say something nice about Huntington. I know it stings, but what's your favorite thing in Huntington other than watching the Tops beat up on the Herd?
Well, the fans have always been very welcoming. Patty's has been a great establishment, has welcomed us in. We've had our pregame meetings there for the teams. So it's always been a fun trip, win or lose, meet great people, nice people. They're very welcoming, and it's always a good trip.
I got to say, I've enjoyed a couple trips to Huntington the last few years
Yes.
of women's basketball. There's a lot of good restaurants there, great views right there along the river, and always fun to call a game in the Cam, too.
And Huntington, it feels like there is quite a buzz coming from up there right now with what we've seen from Marshall. And both of you guys can speak on this. Katie, we got to talk about it a little bit, but I'll get both of your inputs. What is it early on that has people so excited about this Marshall team? Obviously, they got the win over App State, but it feels like there's a little bit of a different energy about this Marshall team because it's not quite what we've seen from Marshall teams in the past in terms of how they come out and win games early on this season.
Well, I know they returned a lot of star power. An entire offensive line basically has returned. Conference USA's finest runner, no slight to Gage Walker, but Brendan Knox is who Brendan Knox is. He's the reigning conference MVP for a reason. And it was just a matter of if the wide receivers would elevate their game, who would be the guy.
Right.
The defense was always going to be good. We just didn't expect them. Stephen, Trace, all of us didn't expect them to be this good this early. So when you throw in a change at quarterback and then Grant Wells coming out and playing like a third-year starter, really, he's very poised. Doesn't look like a redshirt freshman making his first two starts. There's reason for a buzz in Huntington.
Now, this is going to be really interesting, too, to see tonight. A couple of the WKU defensive starters mentioned after last week's game, looking ahead to this one, that, like you said, even though Grant Wells has played beyond his years, he still has only seen but so much. And tonight he sees a very veteran defense on the WKU side that's starting to get its mojo back as well. How do you see that matchup playing out?
I mean, we've got to pressure him. We've got to move him off his spot and just try to make his job hard. If we let him sit back and pick us apart, if the weather allows it to be a passing game, we've seen that he can more than capable of doing that. And obviously, if they have to hand the ball off, we know their offensive line's very good, their running back's very good. So hopefully our guys just continue to apply pressure and just make him uncomfortable the whole game. That's the most we can hope for.
Yeah, and you mentioned, too, about the lines. I think the battle in the trenches is going to be very exciting to watch here between two excellent O-lines and then some defensive playmakers as well. You never know how that could affect the game, especially if it does have to be one on the ground.
Yeah, we've been on record for months talking about position groups and what these teams are bringing, saying that the game within the game for this particular game was going to be Marshall's offensive line against Western's defensive line, because we all collectively think that D'Angelo Malone, Juwan Jones are the finest pair of defensive ends in the conference, and they bring a lot of talent in the middle of the line as well, does Western Kentucky.
I mean, these guys follow Marshall and WKU all throughout the year. It's incredible. If you don't follow them already, I'll give them the Twitter plug myself, at Moonshine TD on Twitter. And it's not just football. They keep up with all the sports, all things Marshall and WKU. It's so awesome to watch the dedication to it, and it gets me excited. It gets me even more excited about this rivalry. And Katie, I asked you about this, and now I want Moff to give his opinion on it as well, and we got to talk to Todd about it during the break. This argument that started to pop up about which rivalry is the rivalry for WKU. Is it the Moonshine Throwdown? Is it 100 Miles of Hate? And obviously it stems past football, but now it feels like in football it's starting to sway towards the Moonshine Throwdown. And, they might be a little biased in this, Brett. I don't know.
I mean, but yeah, they got a brand to protect, and that's understandable.
What do you guys think in terms of that debate? Is this the rivalry for WKU right now?
I absolutely think it is. I mean, just with the relevancy today, I mean, middle in football, they're 6-6 every year. That's just what they are. That's the most they're going to be. And
they'd be happy to get to 6-6
right.
this year.
Yes, that's right.
Their fan engagement's very low. When it comes to Marshall, a very passionate and knowledgeable fan base who brings it both on the field, on social media, and Western is always kind of strive to get to that level of where they've been in football. We're growing our brand and our success. And just both of these fan bases are relevant. The teams have been relevant over the last few years as far as their on-field success, and we just want that to continue, both on the field and off.
I told you on Thursday I will never downplay the significance of the 100 Miles of Hate. I
Yes,
think it's a phenomenal rivalry. Anytime you're going to play over the course of 100-some years, 70-some times, it's special. It just is. But like Steven said, currently the winner of the Moonshine Throwdown has had a higher standing in the East, except for maybe a couple years ago when Middle played for a conference title game and didn't win on a 12-man penalty. But that's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there. But, yeah, the Moonshine Throwdown is built for the social media age, so we've had a lot more interaction with the younger generation of fans. There are still plenty of folks who absolutely despise Middle Tennessee, but they love this rivalry too.
That's a very interesting take on it.
It's not a who's better. Western just gets the benefit from two awesome rivals. I really think that's
very
what it
true.
is.
Yep. And how cool is it to be able to play them both back-to-back in this crazy 2020 season? Top's got the first one. We'll see if they get the second.
I got two prediction questions for you guys. I'm going to save your game pick for the last one. I know Moff is really sitting on a special one. I can tell it just by looking at him. But my first question, and Brett, I'll throw this to you as well, because in the East, we knew coming into the season it was going to be Marshall, WKU, FAU. We have no idea, quite frankly, who FAU is, what we're going to get from them. And really right now we don't exactly know too much about what we're going to get from Marshall. So based on this game and based on what you said earlier about the winner of this game having an edge in the East Division, without giving away your game pick, do you think the winner of this game wins Conference USA's East Division, or is it too early to tell based on what we don't know about FAU at the moment? Katie, you're shaking your head. I'll let you go first.
I'm just going to say yes. The winner of this game will represent the East, because we've just seen FAU have a hard time keeping games on the schedule. So
if you don't play enough games, you can't win the division.
That's true.
I mean, let's be honest. The winner of this team has repped the East a lot. So what makes you think that would be any different just because FAU was kind of hot for a couple of years? We'll see if they come back down to earth a little bit, if they can get enough games in to qualify for an East Division title. But Marshall's really good. Western got them a win last week. We'll see if they got things in the right direction. If they pull off a win tonight, that's a nice tiebreaker to have.
Yep. Moff, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think if Western is to win this game, I mean, that's going to put them on the right track to be in the driver's seat. They've obviously will have to play a great game. Hopefully they've found their stride and they're going to play better. Same for Marshall. If they continue playing well and they win this game, they're obviously going to be in a very comfortable position in the East to win this side of the division.
And Brett?
And the biggest thing that WKU would have if they're able to get this is momentum, because then you've got 2 big wins in rivalry matchups, whereas Marshall, like we've already talked about, layoff for 3 weeks, not really sure what to make of that. And FAU, even if they do start to string some games together, can they find any rhythm here already into mid to late October before they actually get anything substantial going on? So I think with the feelings that we've talked about that has been kind of all around this team in recent weeks, if they get this win tonight as well, I think they could really start to put some things together and have a special season.
And now for the most important thing from you guys. We've got to get the official predictions from the Moonshine Throwdown crew. Mine is Trace. If you want to throw in Trace's prediction, I'm sure you know it. But, Katie, I'll let you go first. And I feel like I know where yours is going. I heard some optimism coming from Moff, so I'm going to save him for last because I feel like his might be a little better on our end. But what are your official game predictions for this special homecoming edition of the Moonshine Throwdown here in the house tonight?
Trace could not make the trip. He really wanted to, so let's put that out there. But I do know he did have a score prediction of 27-17 in favor of the Herd.
You didn't have to say that. Never mind. I take it back. We didn't need Trace's prediction. It was unnecessary.
And I'm holding firm with what I told you on Thursday. Based on what the weather might be, this game just looks built for the team that runs the best today, has the fewest turnovers and penalties. And at the end of the day, you just look up at the scoreboard and see who's ahead. I can't tell you how it's going to go.
So you can tell that's the guy that runs the page.
I just really don't know. I've been saying that for days. I don't know how it's going to play out.
Also, it's broadcasting out here to the campus, so he knows what he's
doing. We're also live on Facebook, so the Herd fans can hop in, and Katie's doing a good job of saving face on both sides. Moff, what do you got happening? Are you going to walk the line, or are you going to give us one side or the other?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be blindly optimistic and say that Western is going to easily pull out a win.
That's great.
They have struggled to score points. Marshall has been very good on defense. Coming into this game, I thought it was going to be a sloppy, rainy day. It's kind of clearing out now, so we might actually have us a beautiful game and weather to be played. So my preview podcast, I predicted 24-17, a Marshall victory. I think their running attack of their offensive line is going to be hard to slow down. I'm not fully convinced that our offense is fully clicking and can put up enough points to secure a victory. I'd love to be wrong, but I have Marshall pulling this one out.
Well, I hope you're wrong. We've got you on with the WKU Jag. You're supposed to be our topper half of this deal, and you go, and I know Sarah back there, she's throwing you the thumbs down. I don't even have to have Sarah on here. We're going to, because her pick decides exactly what's going to happen. I know she is absolutely disgusted with that pick, but I know everybody listening and watching on Facebook Live, thrilled that we got to have you guys here for the first time on Topper Tailgate. This needs to be a tradition. Whenever Marshall comes down here to play at WKU, we got to have the Moonshine Throwdown crew on. Got to have Trace make his way down as well for one of these matchups. But really glad you guys could stop by and chat with us on Topper Tailgate.
Thanks again for having me. Before we get out of here, I got to remind you once again, go help us endow this scholarship that we're trying to do.
Awesome cause.
Go to the GoFundMe page, search out the WKU Moonshine Throwdown Scholarship. We're trying to alleviate a little bit of the revenue loss from this COVID stuff, and we really just want to do some good. So help us. Make a donation. Any amount puts us closer. We want to get these guys an endowed scholarship here with the HAF.
We appreciate you guys. That's just awesome to kind of bring this beyond just a rivalry, but to actually making a lot of benefit on these campuses. So we appreciate that.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, no problem. We're going to take our last break. When we come back, again, like I said, we are going to get the most official pick possible from Sarah. Brett and I will also give our picks as we wrap things up with this edition of Topper Tailgate live from the WKU store. If you want to join us, feel free. We still got a few minutes. We're here until 5:30 when we kick it to the official pregame show with Randy and Leo. And I guess at some point I should mention I'm down on the sidelines, too, for that broadcast.
Yeah, you got to somehow make your way over
Part of me been a little scared because I feel like if I mention I'm on the sidelines, that's when the downpour is going to come. Like, it's holding back because right now I'm not down there. I'm in the trailer where I would actually be safe from the rain. So it's holding back on the rain until I make my way down there. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. But we'll be live. We got about 10 minutes left. When we come back, Sarah, Brett, and I, we make our picks for this Moonshine Throwdown matchup here on Homecoming at WKU. You're listening and watching Topper Tailgate on ESPN Radio 102.7 and live on the WKU Athletics Facebook page.